Welcome everyone to my channel, Farm D with the T. I wanted to discuss a story that I first heard about from my little sister. She sent me an email, and at first I thought maybe it was just clickbait when I saw the title, but then after I looked into it, I realized, yo, this really did happen. So basically, it's coming to light that there are hospitals that are discharging their patients, mainly their patients who may be homeless, and they're just leaving them basically on the side of the street. So there was a Baltimore hospital, here's one of the stories, that is accused of patient dumping. That's what they're calling it, patient dumping. After security guards leave woman at bus stop. So this is what it says. Baltimore-based University of Maryland Medical Center Midtown campus is investigating after a video posted online shows hospital security guards leaving an apparently incapacitated woman at a bus stop wearing only a hospital gown and socks, according to the Washington Post. This video was posted to Facebook by Imamu Baraka, and it shows the hospital security guards leaving the patient who appeared to be unable to speak at a bus stop. Her personal belongings are in a plastic bag on the street. Mr. Baraka, who said he was a psychotherapist and a student at the University of Maryland Medical Center Midtown campus, noted it was 30 degrees when security left the woman outside. A hospital spokeswoman verified the authenticity of the video and said it was filmed Tuesday. Now, mind you, this article is from January 11, 2018. We share the shock and disappointment of many who have viewed the video showing the discharge of a patient from the emergency department of UMMC Midtown the night of January 9th. We are taking this matter seriously, conducting a thorough review, and are evaluating the appropriate response, including the possibility of personnel action. Now, when I read this article, I just thought that this was just nuts. This is crazy. I've never heard of hospitals, quote unquote, patient dumping. So then I went to the Washington Post article that this article referenced, which provided more detail about the situation. So this is the video that was posted by Mr. Baraka on the social media that basically showed this poor woman who was discharged from the hospital on January 9th and basically left on the side of the road at a bus stop with nothing but her hospital gown. You can clearly see her in her hospital gown, the little wristband that they put on your wrist for patient identification, and I think a plastic bag of her belongings. So basically it says here, the man hurried up to the Baltimore sidewalk with a camera in his hand as four black-clad hospital security guards walked toward him, then past him. One of them was pushing an empty wheelchair. And then the man basically says, so wait, y'all just going to leave this lady out here with no clothes? And he's referring to the dazed woman wearing only a thin hospital gown and socks whom they left alone at a bus stop in the middle of the night in mid-30 temps. It says here that her face appeared bloody, her eyes empty. And this is what really got me here. It says it was the latest incident of patient dumping. Latest incident. So it's not like patient dumping is a new thing. Apparently it's been happening in our country. This kind of behavior is, I think, both illegal and I'm sure immoral. So there's been a lot of debate sparked by this. And here we go. The phenomenon was pervasive 2 decades ago, when the law was largely unenforced, Kaplan says, but it remains a problem from California to Virginia, especially in California, largely because California has a large homeless population. And when it's time for them to be discharged, they basically have nowhere to go. They're homeless. And there's these hospitals basically practicing shady discharge methods that just leave them on the side of the road at a bus stop instead of figuring out other ways of discharging of the patient or other locations that they can go to, or working with their community to see what facilities they can be sent to once they are discharged. On Tuesday, the woman left outside of the University of Maryland Medical Center Midtown campus, could barely walk, and seemed unable to speak. Seemed unable to speak, could barely walk. But yet the hospital thought the patient was fit for discharge and left at a bus stop, no less, in the middle of the night. I mean, forget the fact that all she had on was a hospital gown and it was in the 30s, okay? You left a woman by herself in the middle of the night at a bus stop who can barely walk and seems unable to speak. Oh, yeah, she can definitely defend herself in the case that something happened. And this is Baltimore, y'all. This is not some rural town or area, okay? It says Baraka, a licensed counselor, had just left his office across the street to run an errand. He said in a phone interview Friday when he spotted her being wheeled out. A gust of wind revealed that she had nothing on beneath her gown. Shocked, Baraka rushed back to work to get his cell phone, then returned and began filming as he followed the guards back to an entrance. He shouted that is not okay. And then one of them said, due to the circumstances of what it was. Baraka replied, then you all need to call the police. At the doorway, Baraka asked for a supervisor, demanding to know why hospital staffers were leaving her outside. One of the guards said she was medically discharged. Before the camera captured them walking into their hospital, their backs turned. This whole situation that they thought that this was okay to do to a patient. As a healthcare professional, a healthcare provider, this is absolutely appalling. Like, who co-signed on that? I don't understand. Like, who said that was okay? What Baraka filmed next, a woman staggering and screaming into a night so cold that the sidewalk remained speckled with salt and bits of unmelted snow, has been viewed more than 2.3 million times on Facebook, triggering a cascade of online fury and an apology from the hospital. Okay, so it wasn't until all that backlash came at the hospital that the hospital decided to apologize, to acknowledge what happened. You guys, do you see this? They would have went on, doing their usual, business as usual if it wasn't for this man who took it upon himself to be a good Samaritan, to record what was going on to this poor woman and to post it on social media for everyone to see. The hospital would have just went on doing their thing as if nothing happened, that as if it was okay. And it wasn't for the fury that was generated online by this video that the hospital acknowledged what happened. Okay, right. So then Baraka, who called 911 and remained with the woman until an ambulance took her back to the hospital, talked to her mother late Wednesday night. She told him that her daughter, 22, had been missing for 2 weeks. She told him that her daughter, 22, had been missing for 2 weeks and that the episode was triggered by mental illness, not substance abuse. You guys, it is known that many of our homeless, not all now, many of our homeless actually suffer from some sort of mental illness. This is known. Not to say that this particular woman was homeless. I'm not quite sure if she was quote unquote homeless, but she did suffer from a mental illness. The mother didn't know where her daughter was until she came across Baraka's video on Facebook. Can you imagine being a parent? Your child is missing, you're looking for them, you know they have a mental illness, you can't find them, and you realize what happened to them, where they are, once you come across a video posted on Facebook. I couldn't even imagine that feeling. And then to see your child like that just abandoned on the side of the road, okay? Several minutes in, she recognized the face on the screen. She was stunned. So after the paramedics took the woman back inside, Baraka waited in the cold for about 2 hours to ensure that the hospital staff didn't kick her out a second time, he said. He later learned that she'd been sent in a cab to a homeless shelter where her family eventually picked her up. Okay, so why didn't they do that from the start in the first place? Why didn't they do that? It was as easy as just putting her in a cab and sending her to a local homeless shelter. Okay, this is a metropolitan area. It's not like they don't have options. So I guess the most convenient thing was to wheel her out and dump her on the side of the road versus calling a cab and taking her to a homeless shelter. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. The mother told him she's now safe and recovering, said Baraka, who's received thousands of Facebook messages from furious viewers around the country, and rightfully so. They have a reason for being furious. He posted the video, he said, because people needed to understand what he witnessed. If I had told someone this, they would not have believed me, he said. My mind was blown. Trust me, my mind was blown when I heard about this story. And yeah, the Baltimore Sun did report the reason why he posted this video, the reason why he recorded it and put it out there for everyone to see, was because he thought no one would have believed me. And think about it. If someone had said that to you and you didn't have any visual evidence to support it, would you have believed that? You would have been like, oh no, that couldn't be true. Not one of our hospitals, not one of our American hospitals, not one in the metropolitan area, especially one associated with such a renowned medical center. No, you would not have thought that. Not at all. Someone had to give them the okay, that it was okay to do so, to proceed with that course of action. So who co-signed on this? Who said that it was okay to discharge the patient in this fashion? Because I'm telling you, working in a hospital, understanding operations and the intricacies and the different layers, the hierarchy, all of that. It's complicated. You can't just make that decision on your own. Someone has to give you the okay. So obviously there is an issue in the process. There's definitely an issue in the process within a hospital setting. When a patient is being discharged, discharge planning, which usually involves a social worker, discharge planning is conducted long before the patient is actually discharged, you guys. It's not like, patient gets admitted Monday, the patient's going to be discharged Friday, and then Friday is when you guys start deciding, oh, how are we going to discharge this patient? That's not how it works. Discharge planning basically starts from when they are admitted. There's definitely something wrong with their process. It's not like they're going AMA against medical advice. They are being medically discharged. Okay. So where's the follow up? I don't understand. So then, the article explains other examples, but this right here, things are so broken here, so broken. I don't The process needs to be reviewed. It's like dominoes. One just knocks down the other. Can it get any worse? Oh, it can definitely get worse, but it needs to get better. But then, would you not believe a couple of days later, my sister sent me another email about another instance of patient dumping that happened just a couple of days later, but in California. So, second nationwide instance of alleged patient dumping of a homeless man at California hospital stirs debate. So it's not like some of those other cases where they gave the patients tokens, bus tokens, and directions to get home, or they took the patient to a homeless shelter, but I guess they didn't communicate with the homeless shelter because the homeless shelter didn't have any space for the patient. They literally are just in these cases. They literally just dump these people out at a bus stop. So here we go. A video depicting a homeless man in a wheelchair who was reportedly discharged from Santa Cruz, California, based Dignity Health Dominican Hospital late at night on January 11th and left at a bus stop wearing nothing but a hospital gown has sparked a debate about the quality of care provided to the area's homeless population. So I'm not going to go that deep into this instance. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because when I first came across these stories, I was completely and utterly shocked. I had no idea that this was going on, especially being a healthcare professional. Coming from my perspective, when we are taught not to do harm, we are taught to look at the patient holistically. We are taught that from beginning to end, we have to manage their care. It's not just, you get admitted and then you get discharged and, oh well, good luck, God bless. It's not like that. If then you follow up care, it is our duty to at least attempt to get that follow up care situated, scheduled. It's all a part of discharge planning. So that's my question here. What happened in discharge planning? What broke down? Discharge planning is such an important part of an inpatient stay, a hospital stay. It's one of the most important parts because that's how patients follow up. That's how you keep patients from coming back into the hospital, is discharge planning and patient education. So with that said, you guys, I hope that this video provided some insight into some things that maybe you didn't know existed or you didn't know was happening within our healthcare system. Again, thanks guys for stopping by my channel, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.